Welcome back to the E-Forge Podcast, where overwhelmed operators become empowered leaders. I'm Cory Long. This past week, I spent literally the whole week at the RV There Yet Bootcamp, or basically challenge with Pace Morby and his whole team. We were actually at his offices in Arizona, and I wanted to spend this episode. I was literally surrounded by lenders, deal makers, entrepreneurs, people that did the titles and contracts, every step of the way, every piece of the puzzle that it goes into buying an RV park. That was what we spent all week on. And in the middle of the spreadsheets and the underwriting and the financial strategy, God showed up. In today's episode, I want to take you behind the scenes of what I learned, not just about real estate or RV parks, but about kingdom business. I pulled out 5 key takeaways that I believe every Christian entrepreneur needs to hear, lessons about leadership, faith, money, and purpose. And these aren't just ideas, they're action steps that you can use this week to move your business and your faith forward. Look, let's dive in. We arrived and left, actually, we left here on Friday, went spent a few days in Ruidoso, New Mexico, did a little bit of fly fishing or a little fishing out at one of the lakes there, and caught some trout, had a little bit of fun. And then we literally got in on Sunday and headed down to Arizona, to Phoenix, actually right around Tempe area, where we were actually doing the event at Pace's offices. It was fascinating to watch this event. Look, I run events, I teach, I coach. I've got a couple of thousand students, but nowhere near the scale of what Pace and his team do. They have 18,000 plus members just in the one group that I'm in the training group that I'm in, or he doesn't call it a training group, he calls it a community that I'm in. But they have 30,000 plus members across all of their groups that they have, all these communities that they have. I met people from every walk of life. There was a couple of hundred of us there that actually came live to the event, met in his offices, and learned about everything from investing in RV parks, where to get the funds, how to use the funds, how to underwrite the deals, even how to build group funding, different kinds of ways to do that, how to develop the parks, how to look for ways to actually grow the parks and all that. All these people came chasing opportunities. Most of the people in the room wanted to own an RV park. There were a few people there that they weren't really interested in owning an RV park. They just wanted to find RV parks and create money from them for other people. So they would go and they would bird dog and find RV parks from people that were looking to sell. And then they would take it and find a buyer, connect those two, and then make it happen. And it just really made me think about the opportunity that was really there. You see, we networked all week. We had an opportunity to sit there every day at all these different tables, and it was kind of funny. I'm kind of a creature of habit, which is kind of funny because I'm at the same time that I love habit and all of that. I am very spontaneous and I love change. During this event, I walked in and I went immediately to the opposite side of the room because the side that I entered into was very cram packed. Went to the opposite side of the room and I sat down, and I sat in the same exact place every day. It was kind of funny because other people were moving around the room so that they would meet different people. Kind of funny because people were moving into our area. So I met new people every single day. And I was networking with all kinds of different people. Squirrel from Dallas and Dustin from San Antonio and all these different people that I got to meet. Chris from Arizona. And I met all these people. Irina from New York, Clay from Utah, and I got to know them on a personal level. There's all kinds of different ways to network. And I think going into this event, one of the things that I had really thought about, just showing up at the event, was that it's more than just about networking. It's about kingdom influence. It's about creating the lifestyle and creating the things that I want out of the opportunities that I have. And the real opportunity there was, how can I serve other people? Like one day, Clay's Jeep was having problems. He needed it to drop it off at a location. It was going to cost him like $80 in Uber fees to get it over there. So I hopped in the truck, followed him over there and picked him up and took him back out to his place and dropped him off. And it was about making a connection way beyond just networking about RV parks for me. It always is about that, right? It's always about how can I serve? How can I help? Spent some time on Friday talking with a couple that was sitting across from me. Super sweet couple. They were in their 50s. They had owned gyms for many of their years. They sold the gyms off and then they started doing real estate. And they covered a big, huge part of Arizona, even up into Nevada. And I was chatting with them a little bit about what their business was like, what all they do. And it hit me like that I could share some things about what I do in my coaching with them that I teach in eForge and that sort of thing. And as I was I kind of immediately went into coaching. I kind of put my coaching hat on and the gentleman sat there and told me, he said, this is what I needed. I needed others to tell me, hey, it's going to be okay. And here's what you need to do. And so I gave him kind of a pump up session to get him excited about where he was going and what he was going to be doing. And it was neat to see that. The partnerships that could come out of this. I had multiple people asking me, hey, could you partner with me on this or help me with this or do this for me or whatever it may be. It was fascinating to watch that week as not only I was able to do that, but other people did the same exact thing. We used a service. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but if you've never used a thing called Blink, it's BLINQ, and it's almost like having a virtual business card where you can actually put it all together, put all your information in it, put a picture on it, tell who you are, a little bit about what you do, and then you have a QR code that you can give somebody, and they can hit that Blink card, and they can use that to be able to find you and follow you. Pretty cool. And so we used those and we networked the whole time that we were there. I think the biggest thing though is I went in initially and it was I gotta say I was a little overwhelmed initially when I got there with just everything that was going on. I hadn't slept well. It was just a very it was just a lot in a very short amount of time. And I think when I initially got there, the networking part of it I knew was going to be big. I didn't know that I realized how big that was going to be for the week. So I just wanted to ask you, like this week, who is one person that you could reach outside of your usual circle? Where could you go and just ask somebody, how can I serve you? How can I help you? How can I be of value to you? How can I do something for you to help you down the road, whatever that may be? I think one of the things that I learned this week in doing that, having conversations, was how many people that I came into contact with didn't feel like they really had a whole lot to offer someone else when they had all of this value, they had all of this knowledge and skill set and ability that they just hadn't really realized how valuable that was to be able to bring to the table. So what do you bring to the table? What is it that you can go serve somebody? And maybe it's something just as simple as being an accountability partner for them or helping them walk through things that maybe they don't see for themselves. One of the guys that I follow, he actually is the rich dad, Keith Cunningham, of the Rich Dad Poor Dad. One of the things that he says is you can't smell your own bad breath. And that's kind of a very, it's kind of a pretty wild way of looking at it, but it's the truth. We can't smell our own bad breath. We need somebody to tell us, hey, you need some gum or a mint or whatever. You need to go brush your teeth, whatever it is, right? We need somebody to tell us that. So as we're looking around right now, as you're looking around, as you're listening to this, who around you could you serve? Who could you reach out to that's outside of your normal circle that you could say, hey, how can I serve you? Maybe it's somebody at church, maybe it's somebody at work, maybe it's somebody in another environment, maybe it's just somebody at a restaurant that you go to this week or somewhere that you're out and about, maybe at Walmart or some other store that you're at. How can you serve them? Takeaway number 2, underwrite reality, not hype. One of the sessions dove deep into underwriting. Underwriting, think about it this way. It's just basically looking at all the numbers and make sure the numbers make sense and it actually makes money. So they look at everything from what the actual sales price is to what the debt is going to be on the property and insurance and all the other costs, the P&L. So we went into P&Ls, we went into balance sheets, we looked at where everything was. And so many of these parks nowadays, they come out with these pretty pro formas that they hand off, and businesses do the same thing. They'll give you this pretty pro forma that says, yeah, and just and then you're going to make this much money, and it's going to be worth 5 times as much as what you're going to buy it for and all of that. And guys, look, that's just speculation. It's just hope what might happen. And it's not fact of what actually is happening. This hit me hard because as entrepreneurs, it's easy to build our businesses on hype instead of truth and integrity. It's easy to build our businesses on what we think it's worth or what we hope it's worth or what we, right, maybe have been told by somebody else that doesn't even know our business. It's fascinating to me how many people try to give advice on things that they've never actually done themselves. We've built 6 and 7 figure businesses. I have thousands of students around the world, and we've built one business up to 8 figures. We ran 10 million across one business in about 4 years. It's been kind of fascinating to watch, and we've grown these businesses all kinds of different ways. In every business that we've ever had, we've never actually bought a business that was already running. We built them from scratch up. And so it's fascinating to me to watch how people will get entrenched into something so heavy that they'll buy into the hype and then they'll buy off of pro forma instead of buying off of the facts. Look, God blesses stewardship, not speculation. So I would ask, what's one assumption in your business this week? Maybe it's your marketing numbers, your projections, maybe it's even your pricing. That maybe you need to replace the hype with honesty, like fact. Like instead of speculating, let's be good stewards. Build your business on reality, not just optimism. Yes, we need to be, and if you spend any time around me, you know that I am always looking for the opportunity. Like I love that. I get juiced by that. I want to be able to go do those things. And I see that in other people's business and their life and what they're doing. And maybe that's why I love coaching. I love to help people become everything that they possibly can be. We can't base our financials, though, in the things that we're going to do, especially when we're underwriting and we're going to go buy, let's say, a park or a single family home or multi-family home, whatever it is. We can't go do those things off of what we hope that it will actually do, we hope that it will make or create or whatever. We have to do it off of the finances of the park as is. Otherwise, we're not being good stewards. We're just speculating. We're just gambling that it might or might not happen, right? So we want to make sure that we build it off of what is reality and not hype. Takeaway number 3, prepare for storms. One of the sessions, the Bissones, and if you've watched anything much on RV parks out there, Michelle and Patrick are big right now. Highly suggest following them. They were great to have there. They taught multiple sessions during the week, and they were just really great. They own some parks at this point. I think it's about 30 or 50 million or something. I'm not even sure how many because they've thrown around different numbers. I know they own some other stuff too. And they've done really well for themselves. They built this up in a very short amount of time, only a couple of years. And one of the suggestions that they had is they always keep reserves, about a year worth of reserves, because you never know when something's going to happen. And it could be something as simple as, man, the sewer's got to be replaced or the pipe burst or maybe something happened big. And there was one park they were talking about, not theirs, but another one that they were looking at, that there was a storm and it washed out the road to the park, and the park was basically shut down for the whole season. They couldn't make any income for a whole season. Are you going to be prepared for that? Are you going to make sure that you have the finances and everything done? And this hit me both financially and spiritually. Look, margin isn't just about money. It's about mindset. It's about peace under pressure. It's about knowing that if the deal falls through, the season gets hard, that you've built your foundation on solid ground. I was just having this conversation with one of my coaching students this morning, and we were talking about how last week was a really hard week for him, and some things just kind of went sideways, and he was really struggling, and it kind of all compounded on each other. Things just weren't working, and things weren't seeing. And it just reminds me once again that most of the time, what we're stressing about and what we're freaking out about and losing our minds over is not going to matter 5 days from now, much less 5 years from now. Probably won't matter. If that's the case, and we can really look at it and go, okay, what really matters? What's really important today? What do we need to build our foundation on today? What are we what are we handing off and creating worry and stress and all of that over? Look, we serve a God that controls it all. He owns all the cattle. So what are we stressing about when it comes to this? Look, it's yes, we have our part. And yes, we're given a garden. And yes, we have to till and we need to plant and we need to water and fertilize and we need to weed and we need to do all those things. We need to do our part. And yes, there's definitely things that we need to be doing instead of other things like instead of watering our crops, maybe we're off over here scrolling Facebook, right? We're off over here doing things that aren't making us any money. And yet right here, right in front of us, there is something that actually needs to be done today to create income, to create impact, to set us up, to be able to go serve somebody. That's what we need to be putting our time and energy into. We serve a God that's bigger. We need to make sure that we're relying on the foundation that we've built. Do we have that peace in our lives when it comes to our business? I don't always have that. I'll just be completely honest with you. There are days, nights sometimes when I lay down and go, oh my goodness, we're going to have to figure this out and this out. And we got to get this covered and we got this coming. And like it just starts to stack up. It just starts to stack up. Entrepreneurship isn't for everyone. And not everyone needs to become an entrepreneur. Here's the question for you. What's one expense that you could reduce this month or one reserve you could start building, even if it's just small, to create some stability and peace in your life? I think sometimes we think that it's supposed to be chaos all the time or whatever. That's not true. Yes, we're going to have a roller coaster ride when it comes to entrepreneurship. It's just a part of it. It's just a part of owning a business. It's a part of being an actual entrepreneur. But we can also create stability and peace when we know who we are and whose we are. And we can make sure that we put that stability and peace there. Look, my businesses aren't my own. They're God's. I'm just the steward of the businesses that I have. And sometimes I'm a great steward and sometimes I'm not. I have to trust that God's got it. And either he's going to bring the harvest, he's going to make the plants grow, he's going to make the crop, the harvest be either big or small or whatever it is, whatever in his will is going to happen in my business or not. And I have to rely on that. One of the things that I can do is put back some funds, make sure that I have an actual reserve. It's helped us many, many times through the years to have that reserve there just in case things just fell apart. Like when we lost a $45,000 a month client, I didn't have a whole lot of reserve in our business at the time. I learned a hard lesson through that. So what can you start to do today to create that reserve? Not just financially, but mentally. This is a mental game. All right, takeaway number 4, the power of asking and the clarity of the offer. It was kind of interesting. The Bessones were talking about one of the deals that they had done, and they had asked for some seller financing. And they they went through and the guy said, well, how much seller financing? And I think they said something like 30%. And the guy said, yeah, that'd be great. I'll do that. No problem. Blah, 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 blah. And then they had to go figure out how they were going to get the rest of the financing, the rest of the money for it, now that they had the 30%. They found out later on down the road that the guy literally told them, he said, if you'd asked me for 100%, I'd have done 100% seller financing on that park. But they didn't have because what? They didn't ask. Kind of reminds me of James 4:2, right? You have not because you ask not. In business and in faith, clarity creates breakthrough. Look, if God has given you a vision, you've got to be bold enough to ask. Ask for the meeting, ask for the deal, ask for the opportunity, ask for the help. The worst they can say is no. And then you create another offer. You just continue negotiating, whatever that might be. You won't always get what you want or what you think you need, but you need to ask. So let's make sure that we're asking. Write down one thing that you've been avoiding asking for in your maybe it's in your business, relationships, ministry. Maybe it's a message that you need to send, a call that you need to make, a walk through that door this very week. Look, don't wait another week without asking. I'm always fascinated with my students that I have. I'll ask them, did you actually ask for the business? Well, yeah, I asked for the business. Tell me how you asked for the business. And then you find out that they never really asked for the business. They just kind of talked about it and they hem-hawed around it and they sent the quote and all that, but they never just asked. So we talk about closing statements like, do you want to put it on a credit card today? Do you want to go ahead and get this thing paid? Like that, like let's do a close, let's go ahead and just do a closing statement and then be quiet and let them come back. I watched as Pace did some calls on Thursday. He actually did some live calls with some buyers. And one of the buyers straight up told him, I'm not interested in doing any kind of seller finance at all. I'm not at all. Pace like, okay, great. And he got talking to him. They talked a bit more about some other stuff. And then before long, he said, well, just out of curiosity, he said, I know you said that you weren't interested in doing any kind of seller financing or any of that. He said, what if I put down 60%? What if I gave you 60% of what you're asking for, and then you actually held back the 40% as a seller finance part? So that means we'd put down somewhere around, I think it was a $5 million deal. So that would mean we would give you $3 million up front, and then you would hold back the other two as a seller finance deal. And then we would even put that on like a 3 to 5 year balloon so that we would turn around and refi, and then we'd give you that money in 3 to 5 years. But that would give us a little bit more room to play over here to make sure that we're profitable as we take over the park and blah, 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 blah. And then he literally took his pen and he put it in his mouth to show that sometimes you just need to be quiet. And he sat and he waited and he waited, and there was some awkward silence for a few seconds. And finally, the guy came back and he goes, oh, hadn't thought about doing something like that, but I might be open to that. Before he said absolutely not. But once he had put it in the terms and the way that he told him about it, that it wasn't a big deal. Now, it doesn't always work that way, right? It doesn't always work that way, but sometimes we just need to ask. We need to ask, and then we just need to be quiet and let them process through the information that we've given them to decide if it's something that's best for them or not. And if it's not, great. And if it is, great. But guys, look, if you're watching this today and you have not asked for the deal, you have not asked for referrals, you have not asked to be a part of that business or asked to do whatever it is, go ask. Right now, stop what you're doing and go ask. Put this on pause and go ask. Because if you don't ask, you'll never know. All right, takeaway number 5. Lead with vision, not just deals. Look, one of the things that was happening this week inside of Pace Morby's group, inside of everything he does, he builds a buy box. And we spent a lot of time focused on our buy box. What is it that we want? Here's what I've learned in my business. If I don't know what I want, nobody knows what I want. And the more that you kind of make things general or generic, the harder it is for somebody to buy from you. And a buy box in this particular sense, in the real estate world, is telling them exactly what you want to buy. So I want to buy this size of an RV park in these markets that has this many pads, that has an NOI of this much money, that blah, 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 right? It's a transient park, or it's a long-term park, or it's a campground park, or it's a resort style park, or it's a like exactly what you want. So if I told you, like right now, if I told you, look, I will buy any RV park in Texas that's over 30 pads, that's creating at least $100,000 net operating income, NOI, I don't even care where it's at in Texas, but I only want it in Texas. I'll take long-term and I'll take transient parks, short-term, people coming and going. I don't care, right? If I told you that, that's great. That gives me a pretty good buy box. By the way, if you're watching this today and you know of an RV park, I don't care where it is in the US, send it to me. I'd love to actually look at it just for my own working knowledge and learning as I'm going through all this. Might even have a buyer for you. If I define it even more, let's say I was to tell you, I want these things and I want it on a body of water that's fishable. that defines it even more. That gets more clarity. It works the same way with referrals and other parts of your business. I was telling one of my students earlier today, when you go out and you ask for referrals, you need to ask for something specific. So if I went out and I asked for a referral and I said, hey, I'm going to be doing XYZ and I'm going to be making calls this week and I'm going to be giving a referral fee up to $1,000, which is what we do personally. We give referral fees up to $1,000 on anybody referred to us that we close inside of our marketing company. If I told somebody that and then I said, here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for concrete contractors, or I'm looking for, let's even take something different. Right now, we're working with a metal building builder. He does barn dominiums, metal buildings, barns, shops, all that kind of stuff. Loafing sheds, anything that has to do with a metal building, awnings, any of that stuff. Let's say I was looking for metal building builders, and I don't even care what state it is. Let's say I'm looking in Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee. And I told you I'm looking for metal building. Like this guy, we brought him, I just looked today. We've brought him 20 something, 26 leads, I think, in the last 10 to 12 days. What metal building builder would not be interested in that? Brought him that much new business in just that short of time. We're talking millions and millions and millions of dollars in potential business that he's going to be able to get a hold of these people and send them quotes and see how many deals he can get closed. If I told you I want to give up to $1,000, I'm looking for metal building builders, anybody that does barn dominiums, metal buildings, shops, barns, blah, 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 right? And I said, what states that I'm looking at? It's going to help your brain to go, yep, do I know anybody? Great. Yep, I do, or no, I don't. It helps you filter down. The clearer that you can get on who your avatar is, who you actually are wanting to do business with, what kind of business owner you want to do business with, the clearer and the better it will be for everyone that you're involved with. You're going to do better business. You're going to help them more. You're going to be able to attract them better. All of the things. Clarity is going to give you so much. And in the RV park world, this buy box gives you, whether it's real estate, any kind of real estate, it gives you the clarity of this is what I'm looking for. If you don't have that clarity, then you're just going to create confusion. God doesn't bless confusion. He blesses clarity. He blesses us whenever we know exactly what we're going after, the vision that he's given us. You can't say yes to everything. You'll end up off mission. One of the most powerful things that you're going to find as you start growing your business is the word no. If you look at anyone that's become a billionaire, multi-millionaire or billionaire, 100-millionaire, they will tell you it's way more important what you say no to than what you say yes to. You need to get so clear that you can immediately go, nope, not interested. Nope, not interested. Nope, not interested. Oh, ding, ding, ding. This is a good one. This is something that fits my buy box. This fits exactly what I'm after. The clearer you can get on that, the better. Have you built a buy box for your business? Who are you specifically called to serve? What kind of opportunities align with your purpose, right? Which ones distract you from your purpose and which ones are going to lead you to the vision, the goals, the things that you've been called to go do in this world, that you've been gifted, uniquely gifted. I see you. I just need to know, what is it that you are doing? What's your buy box? So have you sat down and done that exercise in a while? Have you sat down and said, this is who I want to serve. This is the exact person. This is what they watch. This is what they listen to. This is where they go. This is what's important to them. Like, have you done that? This is their age. This is blah, 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 right? This is where they live. This is how they spend their time. This is how many kids they have, right? You can get as detailed and you can get all the way narrow that sucker down to where you've got complete clarity. In the agency world, like what I do, the businesses that grow the biggest are businesses that have one specific type of client that they go after. They do one thing and they do it extremely well. Think about In-N-Out Burger. One thing. They sell one thing. They sell a burger, right? Think about Uh, chicken, right? Cane's fried chicken. Cane's is worth billions of dollars. You can't go in there and buy a burger. You can't go in there and buy anything else other than chicken. You're going to buy chicken, and that's all you're going to buy. They're extremely good at it. And people come back and buy chicken there all the time. So revisit your 90-day vision. What's inside your buy box? Who are you called to serve? What kind of opportunities align with your purpose? And then say no to everything else. It may make you feel a little like, oh, I'm missing opportunities. No, you're not. You're getting very clear. And now all of a sudden you're going to start to find that opportunities start to come to you because people know, hey, Cory's doing this one thing over here. Let's send everybody to him. AI search is one of those things right now. I'm speaking on AI search everywhere. I'm talking about it everywhere. AI search is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm talking about it next week. I'm talking about it this week. I'm doing 2 different presentations. I've got realtors that want me to come speak with their groups and all of these different people that want me to come teach them about how to get into AI search so that their business starts to show up in that. I want to be known for that. That helps me to dial in. This is something that I want to be known for, right? So let's recap the 5 takeaways. Look, network as a kingdom influencer, not about self-interest. Let's go influence for kingdom impact, not about what's going to be in it for me. Number 2, let's underwrite reality, not hype. Let's not go mess with pro formas and all that mess. Let's make sure that we're looking at the real numbers, the real stuff, and creating the business plan off of that. Number 3, let's build margin, both financially and spiritually. Are you putting back? Are you stockpiling some things? There was a reason, right? Joseph actually stockpiled when things were good so that he could make up for it when things weren't so good. Let's make sure that we're building margin into our lives. Do we have some space? Do we have some time? Do we have some finances? Do we have that spiritual space to make sure that we're spending time with God and doing the things in prayer and the other things that we know we need to be doing to develop a relationship? Number 4, do we ask boldly and lead with clarity? Are we making sure that we're asking for the sale? Are we making sure we're asking for the referrals in the business? Are we literally asking, or are we over here going, well, I'd really like to do some business? No, just ask. Hey, I'd love to do business with you. Here's what I have to offer. Would you like to buy it? Just ask. And number 5, lead your business through vision, not just deals. Look, let's create a vision around who we want to work with. Who do we want to work with? What is it that we do? Who is it that we serve? And then let's let the world know that that's who we work with. Let's let everybody know. Social media, YouTube, let's put it everywhere. Let's put it everywhere so that people can start to send people there. Look, I believe that God is raising up a generation of entrepreneurs who won't separate faith from business. We talk about this all the time. Like, it's integrated. Who's going to integrate both and multiply their impact, not just their income? Because the truth is, when we're able to actually take our income and be able to go use it and use it in a resourceful way to be able to go create impact over here, it's crazy. You look, use these takeaways as tools and not just inspiration. I was listening, or I was reading a call or a post today in one of the groups I'm in. I was still in a lot of ministry groups. I did ministry for 17 years as full time, worked in children's homes and youth and college ministry and all kinds of different things. And I was reading a post today, and one of the ministers was talking about how frustrated they are right now. Inside of their church, they have this dynamic happening at the moment. They have someone over here that has the funds and the resources and all of that to go travel the world for fun. And they're taking all of these trips and doing all these things because they've worked hard and they've created the income and the impact, and they're doing all these things to be able to go do that, right? And then over here, they have, on the opposite side of that, they have somebody that can't feed their family right now. They're struggling. They're having to go to food banks. They're trying to figure out how to get a job. Maybe they've been out of work for a while, or a single mom, single dad, single parent, something of that situation where they just don't have it. And they have this weird thing that's happening in their churches, and they're not really sure what to do. And it's probably become even a bigger gap than it's ever been. I don't know about you guys, but I want to make sure that we're creating, like, the whole purpose behind us creating a business 11 years ago was to be able to do ministry without taking a paycheck. We've gotten off of that path a few times and then always kind of come back to it. Got off the path and come back to it. Like right now we work with the Well, which is a college ministry here in Lubbock. We love it. We've got a whole ton of college kids that we've had fun with, but I've also taught some of them how to create businesses, and we've talked to them about really deep faith stuff about their families. I've got to actually perform a couple of their wedding ceremonies and marry a couple of the couples that are inside the group. It's been a blast. I love every moment of that. I want to create impact with the income and the businesses and the things that we've done. What have you been called to do? How are you called to impact this world? The more funds that you have, the more impact you can make. So don't play small. What areas of your life are you playing small in where you can make this massive impact if you just went all in? If you became the person that God's created you to be, to do the things that He's given you the vision to do, what kind of impact could you make? Look, if this episode encouraged you, please take a second to subscribe. I need subscribers. I need reviews. Leave a review. Leave a review on whichever platform that you're watching this and share it with another Christian business owner who needs to hear this. Look, I've created all kinds of free resources. You're welcome to follow me across all of the different platforms. Pick a platform, I'm on it. It's either going to be at the real Cory Long or corylong.org. You can go to there and find me there. And if you're not already a part of our free eForge community on Facebook, go look for it. There is literally an eForge community where you can actually get in, join us. You can get tips and tricks, and I go in there live, and it's about connecting and learning and growing together as a bunch of faith-driven entrepreneurs. Look, thank you for spending the time with me today. Until next Thursday, keep forging forward, building your business with purpose, and leading with kingdom impact. Because this is a forge where leaders are made, right? This is the forge. This is somewhere where we make impact. Look, I'm Cory Long, and I will see you next Thursday.